Yes. What's good, people, man? Welcome back to another special edition of Quality Over Quarantine. Today, we're having a nice little chat with the one and only, the one they call Example. How you doing, sir?
Thank you, brother.
Wicked.
Glad we can make this happen. Can I just make it clear that it's the afternoon in Australia and it's my birthday. So anyone judging, I mean, they don't know what time we're filming this, but
Nah, they
there's
don't.
a 9 hour difference.
Hey, all right, cool, yeah. To be fair, everybody watching this, when they actually do watch it, they'll be drinking beer as well. So wishing you a happy birthday. Yeah, you were just saying, or just before we just went super live. I'm like, yeah, bro, you're catching up with me, man, in the age thing, and you've done a lot. Like, it seems like a short time, but it's not really a short time. But you've done a like.
Yeah, I've been around for a while, mate. I mean, there's a lot of artists nowadays. I think because of the internet, I'm from an era where I started releasing on vinyls, and then obviously CD, and then MySpace came about, and then YouTube, and then SoundCloud. But a lot of kids starting out now are just straight on Spotify, which is why when you go online and you read about some of these artists now, whatever, rap acts, pop acts, whatever, some of them are 17, 18, 19.
Yeah.
And, and I think the thing as well, because technology was so good, maybe when we were getting PlayStations or Sega Mega Drives when we were kids, a lot of them getting laptops, or their producers were getting laptops, so they were learning to produce at 10 years old.
Yeah.
So by the time they're 16, 17, they're almost like the finished article, whereas opposed for our generation, it was like, it didn't matter whether you could spit or you could produce. It was like, it weren't really probably until you were like in your 20s that you actually came into contact with these things.
That's very true, man. Let's talk about your career for a little bit.
Where do you want to start?
Do you know what? Because it's funny, because when your first project dropped, see, I was aware of you before your first project dropped as a rapper, and we had some mutual friends or something like from way back, and but I wasn't a fan until like 2000 till Won't Go Quietly. That's what got me in it. That's the one that that really got.
I think I was a bit awkward before then. You know what I mean? I didn't really know what I was doing. Because I've been spitting since I was like 11, but I was always spitting other people's lyrics. And then when I started writing bars, when I was probably 14, 15, so I'm talking like 1997, 98, I went to school in Wandsworth, ADT College, which is now Ashcroft. And there's a lot of people I went to school with. I mean, there's a good mix of everyone, but a lot of people I went to school with from like Brixton, Roehampton, and Streatham, and so on. And these are most of the guys I started spitting with because I was shit at football. And I think then I started rapping my own verses, and it was like I was putting on a slight American accent. You don't know what you meant to sound like, and there weren't really many UK rappers to look up to and like sort of find the different voices. I mean, these people were about, but it was hard to
get.
Yeah. So unless like someone, like your older brother, your best mate's older brother played you something like, this is Rodney P or whatever. You didn't know about anything. And the only thing I really knew about was like cassette tapes. I had like KRS-One and LL Cool J. And then, obviously the pop side of things, the MC Hammer stuff.
Yeah.
And then I started getting into MTV raps because like my best mate at school, Nicky, his older brother Leonard, used to give us the VHSs.
This is so mad. I wasn't exactly the same thing.
Like Onyx and,
yeah, that's mad.
And then I kind of just forgot about rap. It was like I used to write bars, but I never thought I'd wanted to do it for a living because I was too into my films.
Right.
And then I've ended up doing like there's a crew called Full Range, who were around 2003. Now they were working closely with Fallacy at the time.
Okay.
And they had 2 cuts on Black Market Boy, and I met Fallacy back then, like around 2002, 3, and I then started releasing a couple of demos. We put something out on vinyl.
See.
Sampling Everybody Dance Now. Everybody Dance Now. And then that didn't get picked up. And then I just went away to university, studied film, came back, started releasing demos again just as a hobby. No one was picking up. And like when you say you remember my early stuff, but you weren't necessarily a fan, I think it found its own audience, and it was probably 90% white suburban kids. It was like lad rap.
Yeah.
But I hadn't experienced anything in life, really.
See.
I hadn't been in love properly. I hadn't broken up with anyone. I hadn't really had a tough time. I hadn't been broke. I hadn't tried drugs. I hadn't been out late at night. I hadn't really been through much.
Right.
And then I suppose in my mid-20s, some people become a man when they're 15. I became a man probably in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
And that's when I wrote Kickstarts and Won't Go Quietly, Watch Sun Come Up. and then I've done every genre since. You know?
Yeah. See, it's mad as well. Yeah. Like I think like a lot of people have this kind of similar in the UK, have a similar way of finding hip hop and finding the UK guys as well. Like I feel like there's a lot of us in the scene that have very similar stories. Like my story is almost
I feel like
identical.
I met you in Camden or something. Like
Yeah.
Or maybe at Deal Real. Like because when I first went down Deal Real, like when Doc Brown was hosting.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Shout out Doc Brown. Obviously, he's like on my new album. And
Yeah.
like, but I mean, obviously Vincent. And Vincent was a Fulham boy as well.
Scene, okay.
You know, so I'd go down there and obviously there'd be like the backpackers, there'd be like a couple of heads, there'd be a couple of roadman, you know what I mean? There'd be a whole mix down there, there'd be like the hip hop geeks.
Yeah.
But I think Vincent was like, obviously I had long hair, I looked like Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
And I was a kind of different style to everyone else. And then we had obviously like, where are you from? Fulham. Oh, I've seen, I'm from Fulham.
Yeah.
And he helped me out. He put me in touch with PR companies, distribution, manufacturers. I mean, obviously now, all you've got to do is have a Twitter account, Instagram account, and a Spotify for artists. That's all you need now.
Yeah.
Whereas back then, it's like, I was like, all right, I'm going to work all summer painting and decorating. And then he'd introduce me to one company and like, you remember Matt at That Sounds? So
yeah, man.
Like,
Yeah.
pushing my stuff to Zane Lowe and Pete Tong and Mr. Jam and Steve Lamack and, you know, Westwood, even though Westwood never played me, but you know what I mean? But even then, everyone knew who I was because I was making a bit of a noise and I was a bit unique. You know, I was rapping about Pizza Express and Nando's, which is why Zane Lowe sort of played me. But still, I was never part of a scene. And I've never been part of a scene since. I had one foot in every scene. Grindhouse, techno rap, D&B, you know what I mean? A bit like yourself as well.
Yeah, man. But I think it's different though, because I feel like you were one of the first people to take kind of like you say that lad rap, yeah, but like who else was really doing that? Like no one was really having that. Yeah. No one really had that sound or that style. And I think
I drew a lot from Mike Skinner.
That's true. Yeah. Mike Skinner did his. Yeah.
But everyone else in the UK at the time, you know, there was like obviously the grime sound coming through, and then there was like the Skinny Man and the Clash, you know, that sort of stuff. But I to be fair to Skinner always said to me, you just got to be your own thing. Yeah. And I kind of stuck with that, but I didn't really hit my stride and find that sweet spot until probably 3, 4, 5 years down the line.
It's funny because again, like Mike Skinner's probably one of my biggest influences in making music, and that's the bit I always got from what he does. It's very, how can I put it, man? It's niche. It's really thin. It's like I'm not trying to go wide. Yeah. I'm trying to make music for me.
That's perfect way to describe.
Yeah, like the music is for me, my mates. That's it, and everyone else is.
What you're just saying rings true because when he was A&R and me, like this is around the time it was me, Pro Green, and Mitchell Brothers on the beats. This is like 2006. He might not speak or send nothing on email for 2 weeks, and then when he did, it would be really acute and really specific. And he'd break it down and he'd go, right, what you've covered in one verse, you've covered about 16 topics. Why don't you just take one topic from that verse and just cover it for a whole verse? Yeah. You know, so like what you're describing, just being really acute, like look around the room and describe like the lighting, what the room smells like, you know, like drinking from that cup of tea, what's in the drink, what you wearing, what's she wearing, what she smell like, you know, who else is in the room, what's their name, what do they look like, you know, and describing that. And that's kind of the picture that he painted, and that's what influenced me and Pro Green and Lily Allen and even Amy Winehouse said the way she wrote about real life was based on Skinner.
It's actually nuts, man. Who can I add? Jamie T as well. Like it's so funny, yeah.
Jamie T, legend, man. Like, that guy is like one of the best artists we've ever had.
But see to me, yeah, that group, is so influential to what I do, and very like talking about Won't Go Quietly. There's so many songs on that I listen to and be like, damn, I wish I wrote that, man. Like I wish I like, and because it's funny you mentioned that, talking about the things. What do you know? Like, what do you know? Being kind of, it's intricate and it's done in a way that like, if it hits you, it really hits you. Yeah. And I feel like,
but I think that when Skinner said to me, only talk about what you know, and no one can ever question your credibility, because he was always like, look, you're going to make all sorts of genres in your career. Yeah. But he was like, if you're coming at it if you do any form of rapping or spitting or spoken word, you're coming into a black genre, you're coming to a black man's game, you're coming to a black man's world. It's like, and I remember he said this, and my manager at the time said it, and it was quite interesting. It's quite relevant to what we're talking about now. Is it's like, if you, to make black music and be a white person, all you've ever got to do to get acceptance from the black community or in the genre is to just be good and be real.
Yeah.
Whereas on the flip side, to be an amazing black artist and to work in what is predominantly a white industry, even if you're the best of the best, you're still against the system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that flip side. It's like, come and make hip hop. Just be a good spitter, just be real, be a good person, be a nice person, bring other people through, use your platform. Cool, you're accepted, you're in. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whereas on the flip side, it's like, you could be a black artist, make the best music possible, best going, but you're still up against that white corporate system, you know?
Do you know what, man? We bumped into a topic here that I weren't going to hit too early, yeah, but well, actually, it's not early for you. It's early for me, yeah. Like, I normally don't get into the race thing until 7:30. We got 5 minutes early, yeah. But do you know what? Like the difference between it's like, obviously we're seeing it now, yeah, because we're kind of seeing race issues being brought to the forefront in a way that we haven't really seen for a very long time, with people involved that weren't really involved before, and we're having to kind of ask ourselves very honest questions. We're having to deal with the situation in a really honest way, and that there's always been an underlying issue, or not even an underlying issue, an underlying narrative.
It's obvious to some people, and then and then other people don't see it, and it's not their fault. They're kind of innocent to it. You know, they're just going about the business. And, I didn't realize that happened. You know, because they live in the countryside and they've grown up in a completely different environment. And then there's other people who are really aware of it and want to keep it run that way. You know, they want to keep the hierarchy and they want to.
But see, to me, yeah, like I agree with that assessment, and I agree with, if you look at it from a standard of, especially you look at British music and you go, all right, who are the big acts? What does it look like? If you just get all the big acts in a row, what do they look like? What's the diversity like? And then you can kind of see it. You go like, all right, cool. And whenever I've dealt with bigger artists or got people that have been in the scene for a long time, you know what I mean, like some of the big artists, they'll always say, yeah, the UK industry, man, it's really racist, it's really hard, boom. And I've always seen it as like, yeah, okay, it is in a way, but at the same time, you kind of got this idea of like, it's not always a race issue as far as like, I don't want to work with you because you're black. A lot of time, it's that whole thing of, I don't know how to work with you because you're black.
Bruv, I was about to say exactly the same thing. Like, in my experience, the people who I've come up with and worked alongside, you know, and been close to, black artists specifically, the ones who've been treated really badly or feel they've been treated badly, I get it. Yeah, a lot of them have been misunderstood by their label, or their label just jumped on them because they were really hot at the time, you know, and then it didn't work out. And that might be because of the ego of the artist, or the artist not wanting to play ball, or the label not getting. There's all these things. Yeah. But I wouldn't say it's what you just said. It's not racism. It's like not understanding. Like, if you're a white Jewish kid, privately educated, you know, and I'm probably, it's probably more relevant like 10 years ago when, you know, the worlds weren't as integrated. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you sign some kid from North London, like estate, like grimy as anything. Yeah. Like, yeah, you can both have a conversation in a room together, or you talk by the manager or a lawyer. But, you know, when it doesn't work out, it's not necessarily a race issue. It is, like you say, people not knowing how to take each other. But I tend to find, you know, it's like, the way I like to describe it to like some people who don't get it is like, Dizzy Rascal can go and speak, you know, when he blew up, he could speak to the Mandem on the road, and then he could also go to the Buckingham Palace and chat to Prince Harry and Prince William. Yeah. You get me? Yeah. It's like you can speak all these different languages. Like you can chat to any walk of life. Yeah. But sometimes the best educated white privileged people at the top, you know, and it's not necessarily about the royal family. I'm using that as a model. Yeah. We're going extremes. They talk to their peeps up here, but they can't come down the ladder and talk to every person along the way. Yeah. Like every background, every culture, every language. You know, like it's not just about black and white. It's just about, we grew up in London. We understand so many different lingos and slangs and you know, from the Bangladeshi kids, the Sri Lankan kids, the Pakistani kids, the Arab kids, the Turkish kids, the Greek kids, the Nigerians, the Ghanaians, like, you know what I mean? And I think that just makes you so ready for the world. Like your hustle's on already because you know how to chat to every person. Yeah. And there's, even though the industry's changed in the last 10 years and there's a lot more prominent the black people in the higher positions, you know, at labels, obviously we've got like both of the twin Bs like doing the thing. Austin's just come in, done his thing. And that this is obviously good for change because everybody needs to be represented in these corporations, not just privately educated white Jewish men. And again, it's not their fault. They just don't really know how to speak to these people. Yeah. But change is coming. And I do feel now that even on the flip side, you know, maybe the guys who grew up on the street, you know, the road guys, the managers, whatever, their managers or their lawyers are even better equipped to speak and deal with them on the flip side.
That's yeah. Like again, we've kind of bumped into another conversation, another issue. Like it's funny, yeah, because when I
started my second bit, in case anyone's watching, he slightly tried to bring it in, and the level's gone up and down. I don't care. It's my birthday. I'm 38.
Hey, it's celebration, man.
30 p.m. I've been gym today. Anyway, carry on.
It's a celebration, bitches. Yeah, like we almost had, because I really believe in diversity, and I don't believe in diversity for diversity's sake. I just believe that when you have let's break it into sports. So when sports excluded certain people, sports was shit. And anyone who was saying, yeah, I got a championship, you didn't have a championship because you didn't play the best. And taking that into music, that's something we've seen. We've seen people be good in a field where not everyone's involved. As soon as you start involving them, then we see, who's really the best, and then we raise the level. So talking about the Twins, talking about Austin, talking about guys like Disturbing London, like, so having people who traditionally wouldn't have been allowed in the game, but kind of found their way in. You know what I mean? Through back ways and whatever, and now are in a position now where it's like, oh, okay, this is how things should be done. And then you're in a position now where you can really learn, because you forget there's people in these places that have been doing this a long time that know certain things that we don't know. And there's things that we know that they don't know. You start bringing that together.
And what these labels were doing like 5-10 years ago, they were bringing in black guys, black girls, whatever, to work in the offices, and they're like, they can handle the urban division. Obviously, we're not even using the word urban anymore, which is great, because no one liked that word urban. No one liked that. No one even knew what it meant. But it brought in, and then after a while, these guys are like, the labels are like, actually, you know what? These black guys, they know about lots of genres in general. They know good music. And it's like, oh God, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just about having an equal representation of everyone across the board. It's not like, I think this is like in general, not just music industry. Why there's a load of, you see all these white people on Twitter and they're all scared, like, what do you all of a sudden think the population of the UK is just going to go to 90% black overnight by what we're campaigning, and all of you are going to lose your jobs to black people? It's like, this is how these people must think. They're like, I'm finding it hard enough being unemployed, being white. It's like, yeah, but you're not unemployed because you're white. You know what I mean? And
it's tough, man. But do you know what I like? I like the fact. So you're like a perfect example, excuse the pun, of this year, because you know what I mean, it just fell out. So because being in the position that you are, in this climate, and really standing up, I've seen a few guys that have, especially,
there's not enough people standing up.
That's very true. I had a conversation with them.
I've been messaging them, and like, I'm not going to name names, but there's a couple of prominent white artists, and look, I get it if you're from the countryside in the middle of nowhere and you really don't know what to say. That's cool. You haven't really grown up as it. Like, I've grown up as part of, like, I feel like part of the black community, like my friends that I've grown up with, but it's easy for me. But there's a lot of people I've been messaging, and I'm like, come on, man, why aren't you using your platform? And like, they are genuinely like, they're not scared. They're just like, I don't know what to say, and that's cool. It's not their fault. I'm like, well, look, just sit on it. Wait till there's something that stands out to you in the media, or there's a moment on social media, and then use it, because it doesn't have to be now. It could be next month or next year.
Yeah, guess that's the thing.
You know, but then there's people like, I don't know, like, look, Sheeran's a really good mate of mine. I haven't spoken to him about this, but for instance, people have been messaging me going, I know you're close to Sheeran, why aren't you telling him to do something? I'm like, look, you're talking about one of the biggest artists in the world. Yeah. Like, this guy, even though he's from Suffolk in the countryside, has obviously got links to black music and black culture. He's worked with everyone big in the UK, big in America. If he's planning on doing something, it's probably going to come out at the right time, and it's just going to hit us, and it's going to blow the world away. So just be patient. Same with Adele. You know what I mean? Why ain't Adele doing something? She sings soul music, she sings black music. Just like, be patient. You know what I mean?
But again, I feel like that pressure is good pressure, because what it feels like to me is like, as a black artist, there's certain places you're pushed into, and you're always on. You're always like, this issues happen. You have to speak. You're representing black people all the time. And I feel like now it's been switched a little bit, and now you've got, again, it's that whole idea of it. Use your privilege. Be at the front. You say, it's easy for me, and internally you might feel that way, but I still think it's a big. It's not something small. It's not something that I don't think people should take for granted, especially an artist like you, like your fan base is. It's super important. And how was the pushback? What was that felt like to be like, yo, this is what it is, and then feeling that pushback? And to me, all the time, like the way I always say it, when I if I say something and I get the pushback, I'm always surprised, like, what the hell? Like, I've been saying this since day dot from the first song, yeah, but even the stuff I said on my Insta post the other week, when I did my Dear White People video, which I didn't want it to sound like a rant, I just want it to sound like easy listening, like I'm not, because some people, as soon as you're attacking them, and they're like, they just like, they just crumble to pieces. I don't want to be told, like, someone's ranting at them, and I was just like, well, what I'm saying now is what I've been saying my whole life. Yeah. But now is the time to actually, because I was chatting to so many of my mates on, like, artists, DJs, broadcasters, whatever, on DM, my black friends, and just saying, what should I say? What should I say? What should I say? And they were like, you ain't got to do nothing, my colony. You've done nothing. And then, like, one of them, like, very prominent rapper in this country was just like, just speak to white people. And as soon as I thought of it like that, I was like, exactly, I ain't got to tell black people what I've got their back. They all know that. Yeah. Like, everyone in the scene knows that. And also, it's not really helping the cause, like standing up and telling them I've got you. They're like, we need more than that. Tell the white people. Yeah. But how's the pushback been? Great. Yeah. Like, the craziest thing is, like, I posted that thing on IGTV. It's 8 minutes long, that video. And then I showed it to my missus, and obviously she's Australian. She lived in London for 6-7 years. And I think the main thing that all Australians feel is, like, there's obviously their own issues here in the past with sending a load of white people over and killing all the indigenous people. And that's another issue to discuss, which I'm currently teaching kids about. Even the 6-year-old understands it and gets it. But most Aussies just feel so detached from every other culture because they're on the other side of the world, like the 20-hour flight away. Yeah. When my missus came to London, the first night I took her out, I took her to Coco, to Wretch's show, and we went in the backstage, and it's just like fucking 60 black guys, and she's just like, hi. It's like, she was just like, this is amazing, this is exciting. She's like, because she's never been anywhere, never seen anything like that in her whole life. She's never been to Europe, never been to London. And I think that's the case with a lot of Aussies, is like they're so detached from it, they just don't really know how to, like, talk about it, and they almost feel a bit ashamed that there's not enough black people or not enough mix of cultures. Like, they have got a mix of cultures in Australia, but it's still a bit in the past, right? But the main response I got from that, so I showed my missus that video, and she was like, look, what you're saying is really important, but it's 8 minutes, and like, is that gonna work well with the algorithm on Instagram? I was like, do you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna put it up, I'm not gonna edit it, because then it looks fake. And it's now my most viewed video on Instagram. That's crazy. The most viewed video I had on Instagram was from my video All Night, which is obviously me dancing like an idiot in my living room. My missus in her underwear, like, looking pain. And that had like 186,000 views. And my Dear White People chats now had 225,000 views. And it's still getting views every day. And that makes me so happy. Yeah. No, that's blessed, man. And the response is amazing. There's 1,000 comments, and, it feels good, but it's not like, oh, I'm done now. Yeah. But it wasn't like I was scared to post it. I was scared that the algorithm wouldn't push it. Yeah. But it just got to show, and people were sitting there for the whole 8 minutes. Yeah, and I think, again, like, one of the biggest things in this is really just conversation. Like, where do you? And I feel like that idea before of saying, I'm not sure what to say, and I've had a lot of people message me as well. A lot of white people being like, yo, I don't know, like, what do I say? Or they're messaging me like, yo, I'm chatting to this one white guy, and he's saying it's about black on black crime. What do I say? And then having to go, you know what I mean? Go, I just send in the Akala video. Yeah, go listen to that. And I tell everyone. Yeah, Akala did it already. Don't listen. I'm showing my whole family that, and they're like, oh my God, he should be a prime minister. I'm like, no. He should be the advisor to a political leader. For real. He's way more powerful in the back pocket as the advisor. Anyway. But like, that to me, I'm just like, yeah, it's about the conversation, because now you're in a situation where people are feeling more comfortable to talk about race,
yeah.
and I feel like that's an issue that we haven't been able to speak about, and this is just like it's a springboard to so many other issues and so many other things we need to deal with. And again, yeah, our country is different from other countries, and every other country has their own thing, but I feel like we're seeing a global movement of people just going, all right, what about this? Let's actually have an honest conversation.
Mate, check this. So I'm picking up my kid the other day, and there was like 3 of the Aussie mums, like, because you just get to know all the mums and dads who pick them up in the playground. And this perfectly describes, not just for Aussies, but just, I reckon it speaks to a lot of white people in Middle America and the UK as well. And she was like, one of the mums went, "Oh, Elliot, I saw your post the other day, the Dear White People. I didn't want to click on it, and me and my husband watched it all, and you're so articulate and clever, and you know about all this stuff, and I really learned a lot from it." And I was like, great. And then one of the other mums went, what's this? What are you talking about? And she went, "Oh, Elliot's Black Lives Matter thing." And this other mum just went, "Oh, Black Lives Matter, you can't talk about." And I was like, what? She went, "Well, you have to be really careful what you say." Like, and you realise for a lot of people, UK, all over, they're just like one,
Yeah.
They're the sort of people they're going, like coloured people of colour. You're like, just say it. You're white. I'm black. And then another one, the next one was just like, I was having this argument with my friend who's like, what they call it, half. I was like, no, I'm not half. Mixed race, mixed race, and she was saying that she identifies as black, and I was like, all right. It's like, and it's just this really quick, simple lesson.
Yeah.
I was like, she might be an eighth black, she might be a quarter black, she might be whatever. I was like, but if for whatever reason in her life, there's been prejudice towards her, or she hasn't got a job interview, or she's been someone like giving her abuse or whatever for being a quarter black or half black, whatever. She identifies more with being black than white. So she can either, it's for her to say, I'm mixed race or I'm black. And then you saw like these other 3 mums just sort of go, oh, yeah.
But,
you know what I mean? And you just realise these people, they've never discussed it. They've never had anyone tell them. And straight away, because they got brains, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
But that,
and it's like, keep the conversation going.
Yeah. Because I think that's it. Like, again, man, you just hit a beautiful point, because it's that whole thing of, there's a lot of people, we live in an information age. We live in an age where people feel like they know the things they need to know. A lot of times we actually don't. So we have opinions which aren't informed opinions. They're just opinions that we heard someone say one time, or we think it is the way it is. And just having that conversation of someone to go, "Nah, wait, but have you thought of this?" And then they go, "Oh yeah." And another thing I've realised is,
my favourite one is, the All Lives Matter people, and then there's that perfect meme about, look, there's a village and there's like 10 houses on fire, but the other 100 houses are fine. But it's not saying that all houses don't matter. But right now we just have to worry about the house on fire. And the amount of people are just like, oh yeah. But again, it's because it's like the blackness, the word black.
Yeah.
It's like when Dave did his Brits performance, and I tweeted something like, that's one of the most important performances in the history of the Brits, right? And then I've got people like, I nearly turned it off. Me and my kids were there watching it, and like all we kept saying was the word black over and over and over again. I was like, did you listen to the lyrics? And then again, they're like, okay, I'll go back and listen to it. And you're like, and then she comes back and like, actually, that's really clever. I learned a lot from that. And you're like, stop being scared by the image of a black person or the word black, and just fuck it. And now this is the change, right? I think everyone's almost like let the guard down. Yeah. And they're going to listen, which is great, because there's all these people out there who aren't, they're not racist at all. Like, the racists are actually quite a small group, and I think they're actually quite easy to work, because they're letting everyone know they're racist. Yeah. Everybody else is just fucking ignorant to it, or that's scared to talk about it.
That's a perfect example, a perfect point of talking about, because from our point of view, that conversation in itself, if someone says, I was watching Dave's performance and then I turned it off, in our minds we just straight go, oh, you're racist. All once you do that to someone who's not racist, they just don't know, you cut the conversation dead. So now we can't even have a conversation. So,
and also the way that Dave articulates that, it's like, it's so easy. It's almost like, like we talk about sending people a Carla's video. Yes. Playing people that song or that performance is one of the easiest way to quickly educate anyone, black or white, or Asian, whatever, in 5 minutes. There's a lot of black people who might not know the history of this stuff. Or,
man.
I've got a lot of black friends who grow up in nearly all white classes and environments, and they're almost like, don't know how to talk about their pride in being black, and then they hear a song like that, and then they feel like they're being spoken for, and they're like, people can hold on to it that way. So that song is so important in so many ways. And like I say, it's just I've always, over the last like 15 years, social media just naturally had the energy to stop, correct people, kick people off my tour, like my last tour when someone was, it wasn't even like super racial abuse, but like bonkers were supporting me. And there was like, one of them stupid throwaway comments. I was like, no, I'm not having that. And Bonkers was like, look, bruv, look, thanks for standing up for me. I don't care. I'm not offended by it. It's not that. I was like, nah, I'm not having that. Like, you need to make a point. But now I feel like more people are going to just stick up in general.
Again, man, we just seamlessly make a segue into something else I wanted to speak about. As an artist, right? So again, I always feel like there's certain guys who use their position to bring others in a lot, and that's something that you've done consistently for a very long time. And it's funny as well, because I'll find the artist and be like, oh my god, this guy is sick, and I'll be like, oh right, you worked with him already, like, and it's something I've seen you do a lot, work with up and coming artists or artists that might not be as big, but giving them that platform. How important it is for you to bring in other artists and not be afraid to work.
The key thing the main thing I've always done is just bring people through who I'm a fan of. Yeah. And then when people have these conversations like over the years and they come through, like, I'll go to an event and someone like, a black person will come up to me and go, oh, what you've done over the last few years, bringing through this guy. And at the time, like I appreciate what you're saying, but I was never like, oh, I've got to have X amount of black people, or X amount of white people, or X amount of black staff on my tour bus, or whatever. Just do it naturally. Yeah. But then I can see now, and especially important times like that, maybe there's some other white artists or white businesses in general across the UK, and they're like, do you know what? I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to give black people a chance. For me, it's always been like one tour I had Ed Sheeran and Devlin supporting. And then next tour I had Wretch supporting, and I had P Money and Sway supporting, and Bengo. And then like the next one is just only white support acts. It's like, I've never really thought of that. I'm just like, who am I a fan of at this moment? And that's the best way that anyone should do it. But, for instance, I support, when Tinchy was at his height, I supported Tinchy on tour. You think there's Tinchy Strider, and obviously that guy's a legend in the scene, and he's come through and had these massive pop hits, dance hits. And it was JME, then me, then Tinchy. Like, Tinchy didn't have to do that. Tinchy could have brought through fucking any amount of guys from his ends, or like any other like up and coming grime artists or rappers, whatever, black female R&B singers. Yeah. And he didn't. And there was pressure from a few people on his side to be like, come on, you need to shine light on more black artists. He was like, no, I like Example. Yeah. I've known Example. Like, I'd met him like 6-7 years before that. He's just had his first top 10. I want to shine a light on him. And that's how it should be. Like, and obviously for what he did then and the way I did it when I took Wretch on my arena tour or whatever, or P Money on my arena tour. Yeah. So at the time, I didn't really even know what it meant to them, and I didn't really even think about it. I was just like, these are my boys, they're coming on tour. Yeah. And then like P Money's got the last track on his album, where it's like there's a whole verse just thanking me. Yeah. And I texted him afterwards. I was just like, bruv, I honestly didn't know. It's like, come on, man. It's like. And but that's the best way to do it, is to kind of be like, do it subconsciously and just do it from the heart. And then that, when this album came out, or the week before this album came out last week, I'm looking at the features list, and there's 12 features on there, and there's 7 black artists or 5 white, and it's like, don't get me wrong, it's something I never would have thought about before. I was just going, this is an album. Yeah. I don't what colour fucking anyone is on this album. Are the tunes banging or not? Yeah. But in the light of what was happening, I was like, right, let me just text every black artist on the album and ask them how they feel. Yeah. But not just be like, oh, I'm one of the good guys. It's like, no, genuinely, if one of them says don't do it, and everyone was like, are you fucking mad, bro? Like, this is your example. What are you talking about? Just stick the album out. It's like, it's good music. Yeah. Like, as if we're going to stop you releasing your album. Yeah, like, I was like, what was I thinking? But then the whole hype of what was going on with the world was like, should a white guy, he's 37, almost 38, like making his return to hip hop, and he's living in Australia now with his white missus, and should he put this out week after George Floyd? And it's like, obviously I'm overthinking it. Yeah. But that's just where my head's at. 100%. And everyone's like, are you mad? But it's good to even, I suppose, just go for these thoughts, as silly as it was at the time. And But you know, if say I was putting an album out now and it was a hip hop album with no black faces on it,
Yeah, that'd be a
I'd
bit.
expect a barrage of abuse on
Yeah,
Twitter to
yeah,
be a bit leaving.
It, how did you like? It's funny, yeah, because obviously my album came out last week, whatever, and leading up to it, yeah.
Congrats, by the way, it's sick.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
My favorite track's actually the first two.
Sick. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there's a track in the middle somewhere. It's like it reminded me of Mystical. You remember? Is it all right?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. You thought about that sort of Mystical flow. Anyway, carry on.
But like obviously leading up to it, the idea of releasing music was just like, nah, man, I'm just not. And it's funny as well because the album was made for lockdown, in lockdown, right? Very similar to yours as well, yeah. That vibe.
Yeah, you probably did it in the same sort of time frame. Right?
Probably,
like
yeah.
7-8 weeks, yeah.
So like listening to it and making it, okay, that's fine. But when it came to like, I just wasn't in the headspace to be like, yo, guys, check my new album. And I know like everyone else who's putting music out felt a very similar way because you're just dealing with like real stuff, and it's just like, so how did it feel for you again doing this on a much larger scale? The promotion, how was it different this time than it has been in previous times?
Well, to be honest, like, the last album I put out was 2018, and it was just sort of like a collection of leftover demos. After I left Sony, I just was so like depressed and like anxious and fed up and bored, just like waiting for their stupid like label decisions. That I just was sat on these tunes. I was like, I'm sticking them out. So Bangers and Ballads came out in like 2018, and there was 9 tracks on there. And it was a bit of a disjointed album, but it just needs you know when you're just sat on tracks and like, the world needs to hear these.
Yep.
Did what it did. Show Me How to Love was a standout track. Like it's a massive like moment in my show. And then I was like, I'm done with albums. I'm gonna do tech house, bassline, whatever. I'm just gonna do singles, features, because right now I'm like all I care about is festival bookings. I love performing in dance tents or you know whatever, and seeing thousands of people mosh pits bouncing up and down.
Yeah.
So it's been what I do for years, you know, and it's like that's my chemical equation for what it is. It's like build up, sing or rap, fat drop, everyone goes mental. That's what I do, right? And then when this COVID thing hit, I had like a Oz tour, Australia, New Zealand, 9 gigs cancelled. Then I knew the summer was going to be cancelled. It was like 27 gigs. Damn. And the main thing I was thinking, if I'm being totally honest here, with some people may think you sound like a fucking flash prick. I don't care. I was like, there was a lot of P I've lost this year, but it ain't going to affect me like in the long run. But I've got my manager and my DJ. I've got like 10 people who work for me like over the course of the summer and gigs. But my manager's got 2 kids, and my DJ's like expecting his second in August. So all my thoughts were with them. You know, like they're getting 10% of this and 10% of this. So it's like that's a lot of P for them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then I was like, what can I do? There's like twiddling your thumbs, and like then isolation hit, and even Australia. And then what should I do? Started listening through all these old demos. I was like, right, I've got 4 or 5 sick beats here, like that I need to write to. I've got a couple of leftover demos. I need to sort of like pattern them out and get some right people on them. And then I just wrote and recorded like 9 songs. I was reaching out, I was like, so there's people like Pro Green, Steve, MC Steve. Pro Green was in Marrakesh with his missus, right? And he was a bit depressed and like, because their lockdown there was crazy. Yeah. Like you could only leave the Moroccans, like you can only leave the house to go shopping. No, don't even fucking walk your dog. Walk your dog in your bathroom. Like that's yeah, mate, they were over the top. So he was like, I'm waiting for my mic to arrive. Meanwhile, like then Fecky just randomly DMs me and goes, why aren't I on your album, bro? and then Harry Shotter delivers his thing. And then P Money, he's like, bro, this is you. Of course I want to do it. But I ain't got access to a mic. But then Harry Shotter sorted out for P. Sick. And then I think when I hit up Doc Brown, he sent it back the next day. That's crazy, Sway man. Was like 10 days later. And then, yeah, just the way it just come together. And then like, I said, anyone out there want to do some scratches on my album? Like, you know, that DJ Premier, authentic style. And then DJ Yoda's just like, yeah, I'll do it. And obviously I've known my man for years. And I was just like, what do you want in return? Do you want a fee? Because I'm not really paying people on this album. Yeah. Like, he was like, oh man, just whatever, just like have it. You know, so he done all these scratches. So it just come together in like last week. And then I thought Pro Green weren't going to deliver his. And I was like, bro, just like put your headphones on, play the beat through your laptop and record it into voice notes. And he did. And then he sent it over to my engineer who made it sound crisp, like it was like a studio recording. And then we sent him back the bounce with just his lead on. Yeah. and then he played that back through his laptop in his headphones, and then recorded his ad libs on his phone, and sent his ad libs.
Sick. That's
So what
mad.
you hear on the final album is that, yeah,
That
and
is nuts.
yeah. And so I was 3-4 weeks of like need to do more shit. So I said I'm gonna do this music video, and all of a sudden I had like people, animators and CGI and people reaching out to me in LA. Let me do a video for your album. So I've ended up with 10 music videos for 15 tracks.
Crazy.
I've still got 5 to drop.
That's crazy.
So yeah, so being, how's it different to the rest? Is like it's completely different. It's just like bonkers. Like there's people all over the world like just sending bits. There's people going out of their way driving 2 hours to record for me. There's people in Marrakesh recording in their phone.
Yeah.
There's people I've never met animating videos for me. And then there's even like with Calvin Harris. I chat to Calvin like every week, like just banter, just studio nerd banter. And I was just like, I think I was so nervous, even though he's like one of my good mates. I was like nervous. How do you ask Calvin Harris for a hip hop beat? And I think I said something like, yo, you got any like rap cuts lying about? And he just replied like, rap cuts? I was like, yeah, hip hop beats. He was like, well, why'd you say rap cuts? Anyway, so he sent me over like a leftover demo from like Funk Wab Bounces, his last album.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah, mate, it's just the whole thing's fucked.
That's so sick, man. I was like, yeah, Calvin Harris is again one of my favorite artists, man. Like just levels.
Any genre he does is just like world class.
Yeah, it's one of them, innit? Like, yeah, we know what time it is. We know the vibes.
But then I had no expectations for this album. I was like, I ain't got a radio plug, I ain't got a TV plugger. I mean, like no one's doing TV shows.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stick it out and then just use my platform, like my Insta and my Twitter in particular. Like, because I'm a bit, I was big in 2012, 13 in the time of Twitter. I've still got nearly 2 million on there. So I'm like, look, that's more powerful in some ways than being on a radio station if you use it right.
100%.
So as long as there's a visual, there's a story, and everyone who's been involved in the albums like chipping in and pushing it, and like I said, I've still got a few visuals to push out. And then whatever happens, it's not like I was like, I need 10 million streams, 5 million streams, whatever. I'm like, everyone knew that Example put out an album and it was fucking sick. Yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah, it's a good, like, again, like it's probably one of my like lyric. The whole album, the album is just cold, man. It's a cold album, and it's a good listen as well. Like I think the first time I heard it, I listened to it like 3 times in a row. Just like boom, all right, cool. And I just think the different vibes as well, because I feel like some people forget like you can bar like nah.
I forgot I could. Mate, let me tell you a sick quote. You're gonna like this. Actually, I don't think I've told anyone this yet. So when I messaged Sway, so this was like a few days ago, like maybe last week when it come out, he was like, "Bruv, I just got up like Friday morning, whole house is asleep. I want to stick your album on." He went, "I'm like 7 tracks in." He went, "Bruv, you went in on this." He went, "You went in," and I was like, I kind of feel like, I just rushed this album because I did. Yeah. Like I was sent like 10 beats and I took 7 of them. Like I usually get sent 30 beats and take like 4. Yeah. And I was like, I rushed it. I rushed writing it. I rushed recording it. I rushed mixing it. I rushed the album cover. I rushed the videos, but they all somehow work and the quality in their little moment in time. He went, "Bruv, you have not rushed this." He goes, "This is muscle memory." He goes, "You've been training for this since like 2003. And it's like your Olympic final, your sprinting final, you've been training for it for years. And then on that final day, in that final race, you're just like, bang." And I was like, what an amazing way to look at it. Yeah, because it's I would never say, because again, you can always hear when something is rushed. This doesn't sound rushed. This sounds, it's so cohesive. It all just works. It all feels, there's a vibe in it. And as well, I feel like this is definitely going to be a point in time. It's like, it's historic, where you can go, like, I know that feeling. Like, I remember this time. Like, remember 2020? Well, yeah. Mate, I've got my eldest, like, Evander on the front cover. We drove like an hour up towards Australia Zoo. Steve Irwin's zoo. Sick. Like so my photographer mate was like, I know this really sick spot where you've got these massive pine trees. That's the backdrop you want. So I just stopped the car. Then someone come over like, this is private property. You've got 10 minutes. Like, right. Yeah, mate. I don't take your photos, whatever you're doing, just be gone right. So you get the cardboard rocket ship out, and then all my son's like toys or whatever that are color coded. I'm like, put the astronaut helmet on. And he's like, "Dad, come on in." Like, I took him out of school early to say he was going for like a dentist appointment. Dad, I don't want it, Dad. No, where are we? I was like, it was so far. I was like, look, we're getting McDonald's on the way home. Like, I've already bribed him with chewy snakes on the way there. And then he said, we shoot the album cover. We take 40 pictures in 5 minutes.
See.
And like one of those is the album cover. And then like I say, everything else just like, even as the album was like, I was like Pavan, obviously, Foreign Beggars.
Yeah.
So it's like him and Pro, 11th hour. It was like, right, I've got to hand this album in tomorrow. Otherwise, we're going to miss the date to pitch it to DSPs. And in like the space of an hour, Pro's delivered his via a voice note on his iPhone. And Pav has just woken up in Dubai. That's what I say. It's like in terms of it being a global pandemic album.
Crazy.
And he's like, yeah, bruv, I've got it now. I'm sending it over now. I'm like, oh shit. So, and then my guy in London's just waking up and he's like, I was just going to go for a run. I was like, nah, look, go for a run like next week. Just stick this vocal in now. And then the mastering guy's there, like on his day off, waiting like at his computer just to get the pre-masters. Like, fucking mental, man. And then it's out, and it's a big breath of fresh air. And then I pretty much said no to all interviews because I felt like just saying, fucking, the album is what it is. But then you know what I mean? You're like one of my favorite people on Twitter, so I just want to chat to you regardless.
Nah, it's deep, man. It's deep,
That's
man.
the second beer kicking in now.
Getting emotional. The birthday's started, man.
Second beer, innit?
It started, man. Nah, man. You know what? I'm a thank you for your time. We kind of hit our time limit, yeah. But I just want to say, yeah, Some Nights Last for Days out now.
And your album.
Yeah, my album Blurred is out now as well. Actually, I'm gonna drop a new video for that.
You know what? The first two tracks kind of remind me of like when Kanye's at his best.
Yeah,
and a bit Kid Cudi as well.
That's cool, man. I'll take that.
And then it gets a bit bashy, and then it goes a bit mystical. But no, it's a good journey. I really enjoyed it.
It goes very dark. I just wanted it to go with. It goes with the time, like how I felt the whole way through this time period.
I feel like your album you should listen to at like 11 p.m. like from midnight onwards. It's kind of like a nighttime album.
Yeah. No, it does make sense. It does make sense. But yeah, I think it's been a bit of a mad time. But I like to see. I think ultimately when we hit the end of this time, I feel like a lot of people have grown. A lot of people have learned new skills, new ways of doing things. I did have one more question I wanted to ask you. Yeah.
Go on. Mate, I've got another like 10 minutes.
All right, cool. Something you mentioned earlier about leaving the majors and going independent. And I feel like you've kind of set a blueprint of how that should look for a lot of artists. Like if artists are watching you, there's certain things they're gonna see. Like me, I'm a watcher, man. I watch what everybody does, how things are done. Like that's my. I mean, like I just observe. I love the game, innit? So,
but do you know what I love about you? Is you've been around a fucking long time, and watching your Twitter and your Insta, you never come across as one of these old-fashioned like bitter twats. You know what I mean? There's
never.
A lot of people like, and I'm talking whether you're a DJ or an MC rapper or whatever. There's a lot of people who've been again 10, 15, 20 years longer than me. And they always feel a bit hard done by, you know, why are these young cats doing better than me? Why is that kind of, and like, you've never come across as that. And I love that. Because I've had moments where the light all of a sudden went shining on me.
Yeah.
And I had nothing but love for and compliments and happiness for people coming through and people taking my festival slot and people headlining after me who supported me. Yeah. And all of a sudden I'm not getting played on Radio 1 because so-and-so's come through. And I'm like, I'm fucking happy for you. But then the moment you forget that, and just focus on you. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to put out songs I love for me, whatever the genre at any time. Yeah. I'm going to make budget videos. I'm going to use my missus in the video where appropriate. Yeah. And I've done that. And then you realize that there's certain moments where you're like, okay, there's people with 100 million streams on a song. And like, because it's algorithmically friendly pop music or whatever. And that ain't me. Like, even if it was the sickest tune ever, it's my voice singing it, and I ain't got an algorithmically friendly voice. But if I get the equivalent of, say, a song with 10 million streams, right, it's worth as much based on that. Because everyone knows that I'm not taking anything away from people with all these streams or all these views or whatever, but these major labels, they scratch each other's back and like, they all put each other on each other's plates. It's like, well, if you put us on your playlist that's owned by Sony, will you put us on your playlist owned by Atlantic? And then that YouTube video comes out. I mean, there's some people like, obviously there's like the Stormzy's and Ed Sheeran's where it's just like, it's gonna go. Yeah. Like, Bossy Bot, best song at the time, best video, of course it's gonna get 100 million views. But for everyone else, you know, there's like, I put £1,000 boost ad budget behind All Night. Because I was like, it's my missus dancing in her underwear. Of course it's going to fucking fly. Because even if no one likes Example or the tune, they're going to be like, right, I'm watching this.
Yeah.
It's assault. You know what I mean? And I think there's moments like that. And that's on like 25 million views now. And without a doubt, my back catalogue plus that one song is why my last tour in February sold out. I played 15 academies, sold out. And my, obviously no festivals this summer, but my value went up again. My stock rose.
Yeah.
And then everyone has to find their own business model. So I always say to independent artists, whether you're just starting out or you've left the major system, first and foremost, make music for yourself, and then work out, is it like, am I going to make stuff, like that's Spotify friendly? Am I going to make stuff? Because if you don't want to be Spotify friendly, like, because whatever, the production or your vocal, whatever, or there just isn't any big playlist that will suit your sound. The flip side is that maybe you've got to be YouTube friendly, as in like cause a stir over there, because sometimes I turn up at a festival, even in Australia, and I've never heard of the guy playing after me.
Yep.
I'll do my research. I'm like, this guy's got no streams at all. I look on YouTube, he's like, right, he's at 50 million views. So you just, some people, every platform works for you. And there's some people who launch a song on SoundCloud and it's like 1 million streams, and then Spotify's 5,000.
Yeah.
And it's the same. So I think it doesn't matter whether you're 40 or you're 40, black, white, trance, hip hop, trap, whatever. You find your lane as an independent artist and do what works for you. Because I say to a lot of people now, don't worry about a 3-minute 30 music video for YouTube. If you've got 40 seconds, which is going to kill it in a square on Instagram, that's all you need. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen on this album, in particular, this album campaign, I've had videos that have had 100,000 views on Insta for 45 seconds in a box. But the beautiful cinematic landscape 3-minute 40 versions had like 10% of the views. So it's work out what you're good at, where you fit in, and there ain't no right or wrong answer. But I honestly believe it's not about, if it's great music, it will find its audience. And then the people who turn around in years and they're like, oh, it never popped for me, it never worked, we're all a bit bitter. I'm like, maybe the tunes weren't good enough, because don't matter how old you are, how fat you are, how fucking skinny you are, how beautiful you are, like whether you're singing or spitting. It's like, these people find their markets. You know what I mean?
I think I had my bitter stage was so far. It was like a time where no one knew me. So like I always feel like it was. I feel like
Twitter platform.
There was none of it. So it was before like.
It seemed like this guy has always been hacked.
It was like 2007ish. So it was like because I kind of came in. Like I went online, so I was just sitting by myself in it, just like on road in some trap house, like pissed off, like. But like, I think to me, like exactly what it's funny, because the way you talk about your career and where you are, I feel the same about myself, but again, it's just a smaller level. So it's like, and again, it's like, to me, I'm like, find your lane, you do what you do, have fun with it. And my thing has always been, I want to see, I'm comfortable, I'm good, I ain't got to worry about anything ever again. But I always want to see like the young guys come up and do their thing. I want to see the young guys come up and hit the places that I didn't get. And whenever time I see that, I'm always like, yes, I love that. When I saw like Dave is a really good example as well, because to me, Dave is like, I'm like, Dave does what I do, what I've been doing. Like, it's nothing different. And people will be like, it's like, obviously I work with young people. They're like, oh my God, check what he says, it's so deep. And I'm like, I did that. But I'm like, I'm glad that you heard it from him. Like, you weren't listening to me, but you heard it from him. And to me, the message is the most important thing. And then to see him.
Someone like Dave, though, it's like, apart from the fact he's a sick songwriter and rapper, you got I think like sometimes it's like, it's down to the brand as well. It's like just the name Dave alone is so powerful.
There we go.
And like, because I personally feel like the name Example was never that good. It was pretty shit. I felt like like when you hear like names like Coldplay, or you know what I mean, it's not a great name, but if the songs are fucking banging, like after a while you forget. Like even Eminem ain't a great name. It's you know what I mean? But it's like you make the name.
You make the brand.
There's other people, before you've even heard the tunes, you're like, before you hear Stormzy, you're like, I want to hear a Stormzy. I've got an idea of what this is about. This is going to be some energy. And before you hear even a song by Dave, you're like, well, this is a black guy, a rapper called Dave. Okay, like sounds like it should be a white builder. All right, but it's Dave. So you just know that this guy's going to be saying some profound intellectual like shit. So sometimes you got to remember as well, is whether people planned it or not, the name and the brand and the logo is the reason that helped them blow. Like, obviously the music's got to be amazing, but in the past, there's people I know where I'm almost like, I've never said it to them, but I just thought, your name was like pretty fucking weak, you know what I mean? Like even like house DJs or techno DJs. But then there's ones who like surpass that and get bigger than that because the music's so big you can't ignore it.
There we go. Yeah, nah, man. It's an interesting game. It's interesting to watch, and it's rewarding, man. I like seeing just people step out their box and do different things. This is why this album for you, to me, was like, yeah, like now people knowing it, like, yeah, nah, he really, really does it. We didn't even get into like your underground days, yeah, but people they know it's there. They know it's there. They know what time it was. He's really in the gym.
Right. Yeah.
Nah, man, I want to thank you for your time.
Nah, you too, brother. And look, we're definitely going to do a tune together. I know
100%.
You've reached me out a few times.
For time, yeah.
It's like you're in my thoughts. It's when the beat's right.
Yeah.
Time's right. We're gonna do it.
I'm a kind of person who I plan well in advance, and I've had this song that I wanted to do for this album that I wanted to do. We're like probably not the next album, the one after that, and I'm definitely gonna shout you for that, man. But I want to say, you know what? It's funny because you've been an influence for a long time. In what you do and how you do it, the idea of just, as far as songwriting, like I said, there's so many times. I said this before on Twitter. If you go into a gym and they're not playing your music, they ain't legit.
Yeah,
like,
I see that.
Like,
I'm quite fortunate. It's like I see a PRS check every year, and then it's like, there's a good percentage of it is still like all the gyms. You know, it's just they've got 150 songs on their playlist, and like 7 of them are mine.
It's like there was a time, I think it was like 2015, or maybe a bit before that, when I was in the gym hard, and
was it called Example Gym?
It should have been, man, but I think it was When the Sun Comes Up. I think they had the video as well, and I swear every time I saw that would just hit me to another level. Like, yeah, alright, cool, let's go. But yeah, man, there's so many elements of what you do as a songwriter, producer, and just how you carry yourself within the industry, how you promote yourself, how you push yourself, how you present yourself, which I feel like is definitely, for me, is something that I've definitely learned from, and I've tried to use as much as possible. I always like to give credit where credit is due. So yeah, man.
Had this chat.
Nah, man, it's super blessed.
Do you know what? I just realised I nearly put on a pink hoodie just before this started. That would have been a moment.
Would have matched.
People wouldn't have known who's talking. Wait, is this the black guy or the white guy? They're both
you need the glasses, man. You'll get the glasses. But nah, hey, bro, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your birthday. And we're gonna chat very, very soon. Love to you, mate, love to your family.
Let's just go for dinner.
100%.
When I come back.
Come down, shout me. We'll do that, man. 100%.
Hi, G.
Brother.
Mad love.
Peace and love, man. I'll chat to you soon. Bless, man. So that was Example. Amazing chat, like amazing guy, amazing catalog. Like, you need to check like the amount of work that Example has done, what he's put in. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but the Kung Fu days, the Underworld, the Dill Real days, we're talking about someone who really put in that underground work as an MC and has taken it to another level, and has kind of set out a blueprint of where we can go as artists. You know what I mean? If we just really put in the work. Again, going from a major label to independent seamlessly, and even doing more as an independent artist than he was doing on a major. It's a beautiful thing to watch. But yeah, guys, thank you for your time. Stay blessed, stay safe. Lockdown is almost over, but we ain't over. We're still out here. We're still doing our thing. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, comment, like, let us know you're out here, man. But yeah, thanks to Example, thanks to you guys. Peace and love. One.